Have you ever wondered what truly touches a man's heart? Not just impresses him, but deeply moves him in a way that strengthens your bond and changes how he sees you. Many people believe it's about grand gestures, expensive gifts, or picture-perfect romance. But the truth is much simpler and far more powerful. What truly melts a man's heart are the small, quiet moments that create an unbreakable connection. This is not about playing games or manipulation. It is about understanding the hidden emotional world of men, a world they often struggle to express. Men are taught to be strong, to handle everything alone. Because of this, many carry burdens in silence, never showing their struggles to the world. But here is the reality. Even the strongest man has a heart that can be softened. And when a woman understands how to reach it, the connection becomes something rare and unshakable. Today, we will explore 12 things that genuinely touch a man's heart. These are not the typical relationship tips you hear everywhere. Instead, they are real, raw, and powerful truths about love and human connection. By the end of this video, you will have a new understanding of what truly makes a man feel loved, valued, and emotionally connected. And once you understand these principles, you will never look at relationships the same way again. So let's begin. Let's uncover what truly melts a man's heart. 1. Genuine appreciation. More than just a thank you. Men carry silent burdens. Society expects them to be strong, capable, and resilient. From an early age, they are taught to push forward, solve problems, and provide for others, often without a single word of encouragement. But here's something many people don't realize. Even the strongest man, the most confident man, wants to feel that his efforts matter. He may not ask for praise. He may never admit that he needs recognition. But deep down, every man longs for one simple thing: to be seen. Let me tell you a story about Jake, a hard-working husband and father. Every morning, he woke up at 5 a.m., went to work, and spent long hours providing for his family. He never complained. He never asked for a break. He simply did what needed to be done. One evening, after an exhausting day, Jake sat quietly at the kitchen table, barely touching his dinner. His wife, Linda, noticed the exhaustion in his eyes. She didn't give him advice. She didn't tell him to stop worrying. Instead, she walked over, placed a hand on his shoulder, and said, "I see how hard you work for us. I appreciate it more than words can say." That moment stayed with Jake forever. Appreciation is not just about saying thank you. It is about noticing. It is about recognizing the quiet sacrifices that often go unseen. A man doesn't just seek acknowledgement for grand achievements. He craves recognition for the small things, the long hours at work, the silent efforts to protect his family, the unspoken worries he carries alone. And when a woman acknowledges these things, not with empty praise but with genuine gratitude, something powerful happens. It tells a man that his work is not in vain, that what he does every day, even when no one seems to notice, truly matters. Here's the key. Appreciation is most powerful when it is specific and sincere. Instead of saying, "You're such a great guy," try, "I really admire how you always make sure our family is safe and taken care of." Instead of a general "thanks," say, "I love how you always take care of the little things I forget about. It means so much to me." Words have power, and a simple acknowledgement spoken from the heart can stay with a man for a lifetime. 2. Emotional intelligence. Truly listening. In today's world, people listen to reply, not to understand. Conversations have become competitions: who can talk louder, who can prove their point, who can win. But there is a kind of listening that goes beyond words. And when a woman masters this kind of listening, she creates a space where a man feels something rare: the freedom to open up. Let me share a story about David. He was a man who had spent his entire life keeping his emotions locked away. Growing up, he was taught that men should be strong, that feelings were a sign of weakness. One evening, he was sitting on the couch with his wife, Susan. He was stressed about work, feeling the weight of responsibility pressing down on him. Hesitating at first, he finally admitted, "I don't know if I'm doing enough. I feel like I'm constantly trying, but it's never enough." Susan had two choices at that moment. She could do what most people do: give advice, try to fix the problem, or tell him he was overthinking. But she didn't. She simply put down her phone, looked into his eyes, and said, "That sounds really tough. I can see how much this is weighing on you." She didn't interrupt. She didn't offer solutions. She just listened. And for the first time in a long time, David felt like he could breathe. Because here's the truth. Men open up when they feel safe, not when they feel pressured. A man is not always looking for someone to solve his problems. He is looking for someone to understand his world. So what does real listening look like? First, presence. Put down your phone. Stop thinking about what to say next and just be there. Second, no interruptions. Give him time to find his words, even if he hesitates. Third, validation. Instead of dismissing his feelings, acknowledge them. Saying, "That must be hard," or "I get why you feel that way," means more than you think. Most men have learned to keep their emotions inside because they fear being judged. But when a woman listens, truly listens, it's like giving him permission to be real, to be human. And that, more than anything, creates a bond that transcends words. 3. Soft encouragement. Believing in him when he doubts himself. Men don't always ask for encouragement. In fact, many won't even admit when they need it. But deep inside, every man carries doubts, questions about his ability, his worth, and his purpose. Sometimes, the difference between giving up and pushing forward is not loud motivation, not pressure, but something far quieter, a woman's quiet, steady belief in him. Let me share a story about Mark. Mark always taken pride in his work. He built his own small business from the ground up, working late nights and sacrificing weekends, but one year, everything started to fall apart. He lost a major client. His finances became tight. He started questioning everything. One evening, as he sat at the dinner table, staring at a pile of unpaid bills, he sighed and muttered, "Maybe I was never meant to do this. Maybe I should just quit." His wife, Rachel, looked at him calmly and said, "I know this is tough, but I also know you. And I know that you always find a way forward. Whatever happens, I believe in you." She didn't pressure him to keep going. She didn't tell him what to do. She simply reminded him of who he was, and that was enough. Here's what most people don't realize. A man doesn't need someone to push him. He needs someone to remind him that he can push himself. The right kind of encouragement isn't loud. It's not about big speeches or unrealistic praise. It's about quiet confidence in his abilities. Instead of saying, "You need to do better," try, "I know you'll figure this out." Instead of, "Why don't you just do this?" say, "I trust that you'll make the right choice." When a man feels that someone genuinely believes in him, it unlocks something powerful. Because belief, real, steady, unwavering, can carry a man through storms he never thought he could face. 4. Acts of kindness. Love in the little things. We often think of love as something grand. Big romantic gestures, surprise vacations, or dramatic declarations of affection. But the truth is, love is built in the small moments. It's not about what happens on special occasions. It's about what happens every single day. Let me tell you a story about Steve. Steve and his wife Emily had been married for 30 years. They had been through everything together, raising kids' financial struggles, even health scares. One day, Steve was talking with a younger coworker who asked, "After 30 years, how do you keep the love alive?" Steve smiled and said, "Every morning, before she even wakes up, I make her coffee. She doesn't ask me to, she doesn't expect it. But when she wakes up, it's always there waiting for her." The young man laughed. "That's it? Coffee?" Steve nodded. "It's never just coffee. It's a reminder every morning that I love her. Here's the lesson. It's not the size of the act that matters. It's the meaning behind it." Men may not always talk about their feelings, but they notice the little things. When you remember how he takes his coffee, when you pack his favorite snack before a long drive, when you place your hand on his back after a stressful day, these acts of kindness may seem small, but they communicate something deeper. I see you, I care about you, I'm here. And here's something important. Kindness isn't about keeping score. It's not about doing something so he does something back. It's about giving freely, with love. Men may not always say it, but they feel it. And when a man experiences kindness, not out of obligation but out of genuine care, it touches his heart in a way that words never could. 5. Respecting his space. Love without clinging. Every man, no matter how deeply he loves someone, needs time to be alone. Not because he doesn't care, not because he's pulling away, but because space is how he recharges, thinks, and processes life. Yet many relationships struggle with this. A woman might feel hurt when a man asks for time alone. She might wonder, did I do something wrong? But here's the truth. A man's need for space is not a rejection. It's a reset. Let me tell you a story about Tom. Tom deeply loved his wife, Laura. They had a strong relationship, but there was one issue. Whenever he wanted time alone, she took it personally. One evening, after a long and exhausting work week, Tom just wanted to sit on the porch for a while, alone with his thoughts. But as soon as he stepped outside, Laura followed. "Why don't you want to spend time with me? Is something wrong?" she asked. Tom sighed. He didn't know how to explain that needing time alone had nothing to do with his love for her. It wasn't until years later that Laura understood. One day, she needed time to herself, to read, to relax, to just breathe. And that's when she realized something. Space is not about distance, it's about balance. When a woman respects a man's space, it tells him, I trust you, I know you love me, and I know you'll come back when you're ready. And here's the irony. The more freedom a man feels, the more he naturally wants to come back. Love isn't about holding tight. It's about giving enough space to breathe, so he always wants to return. 6. Shared laughter, the bond of joy. Life can be stressful. Work, responsibilities, expectations. There's always something weighing on a man's mind. But do you know what cuts through all of that? Laughter. Laughter is one of the most underrated yet powerful ways to melt a man's heart. Because when a man laughs with a woman, he doesn't just enjoy the moment. He feels connected to her in a way that words cannot explain. Let me tell you a story about Ryan. Ryan was going through a tough time at work. Long hours, high stress, and sleepless nights had drained him completely. One evening, as he sat on the couch exhausted, his wife Mia walked in and said, "You look like you've been wrestling with a bear all day." And I think the bear won. Ryan stared at her for a moment, then burst out laughing. It wasn't that the joke was groundbreaking. It was the timing, the lightness, the reminder that life doesn't always have to be so serious. You see, when a woman laughs with a man, it does something special. It breaks tension and reminds him to breathe. It creates a sense of us against the world, a shared moment that is just theirs. It tells him, no matter what happens, we can still find joy together. A man doesn't just fall in love with a woman's beauty, intelligence, or kindness. He falls in love with the way she makes him feel. And when a woman brings joy, humor, and lightness into his life, she becomes someone he never wants to lose. Because laughter isn't just about happiness, it's about connection. 7. Supporting his growth without controlling. Every man wants to grow, to become better, to achieve something meaningful. But here's where many relationships struggle. A man doesn't want to feel like a project. He wants support, but he doesn't want to feel like he's being fixed, managed, or directed. Let me tell you a story about Eric. Eric had always wanted to get in better shape, but between work and family, he kept putting it off. His wife, Natalie, knew he wanted this for himself, but instead of pushing him, she simply made small changes. She started cooking healthier meals, not with a lecture, just with quiet consistency. She invited him for evening walks, not as a demand, but as a casual, "Hey, let's get some fresh air together." And over time, something happened. Eric started making changes on his own, not because he was told to, but because he felt encouraged, not pressured. This is the secret. Men don't grow when they feel controlled. They grow when they feel believed in. Here's the difference between support and control. Control, you really need to exercise more. Support, I love how energized you are after a good workout. Control, you should read more books on success. Support, I heard about this book. I think you'd like it. See the difference? The other invites. When a woman supports a man without making him feel like a project, he starts to believe in himself on his own terms. And that belief, it's powerful. Because when a man feels supported without pressure, he doesn't just grow. He starts becoming the best version of himself because he wants to. And that is a feeling he will always associate with you. 8. Consistency, love that stays steady. What truly melts a man's heart isn't consistency. A grand romantic gesture can be impressive, but what truly stays with a man, the thing that makes him feel safe, valued, and deeply connected, is the quiet, steady presence of love over time. Let me tell you a story about John. John had been married to his wife, Sophia, for 25 years. One day, a younger colleague asked him, "What's the secret to a lasting marriage?" John thought for a moment, then said, "Every morning before I leave for work, she hands me my coffee, just the way I like it. She's been doing that for years." The young man laughed, expecting a bigger, more dramatic answer. But John just smiled. "It's such a small thing, but do you know what it tells me? It tells me she's still here. She still cares. And that matters more than anything." This is what most people overlook. And consistency is what builds trust. Anyone can make a grand gesture when emotions are high. But what truly melts a man's heart is knowing that he can count on you, not just when things are exciting, but also when life is ordinary. It's not about perfection, it's about presence. It's about checking in with him even when he seems fine. It's about the way you say good morning, the way you say good night. It's about the small everyday things that whisper, "I'm still here. I still choose you." Men don't always express their emotions openly, but trust me, they notice consistency. Because in a world that is constantly changing, a man's heart melts when he finds something he can always rely on. 9. Unconditional care, loving without keeping score. In today's world, love is often transactional. If I do this for you, what will you do for me? But what truly melts a man's heart, what makes him feel safe, valued, and deeply connected, is love that is given freely, without conditions. Let me tell you a story about Michael. Michael was a strong, independent man who rarely asked for help. He had spent years taking care of others, always putting his family first. Then one day he got sick. For the first time, he couldn't be the provider, the protector, the strong one. He hated feeling weak. He hated feeling like a burden. But his wife, Emma, never once made him feel like one. She cared for him without frustration, without resentment, without expecting anything in return. She didn't do it because she had to. She did it because she loved him. And for Michael, that meant more than anything else. Because here's the truth. A man may be strong, but deep down he is always asking one silent question. If I fall, will someone still be there? And when a woman answers that question with her actions, not just her words, it creates an unshakable bond. This kind of care is not about keeping score. It's not about waiting for something in return. It's about saying, I see you, I care about you. Not because of what you do for me, but simply because you matter. And the irony? The more a man feels unconditionally cared for, the more he naturally wants to give back. Because when love is given freely, it doesn't create distance. It creates deep, lasting connection. And that is something a man will never forget. 10. Honesty with kindness. A man needs to feel and be himself. Men often carry the weight of expectations. Society tells them to be strong, to be providers, to never show weakness. And because of this, many men fear one thing the most: judgment. A man doesn't just want love. He wants to know that he can be himself without fear of being criticized, belittled, or compared. Let me tell you a story about Robert. Robert had always tried to be the best husband he could be. But like anyone, he had his flaws. He sometimes forgot small details, he got caught up in work, and he wasn't always great at expressing his emotions. One evening, after he had forgotten their dinner plans, he looked at his wife Janet and said, I know I mess up a lot. She smiled and simply said, I didn't marry you because you're perfect. I married you because I love you, flaws and all. That one sentence changed everything for him. Because here's the truth. Men are not looking for someone to remind them of their shortcomings. They already know them. What they long for is someone who sees their flaws but still chooses them. That doesn't mean ignoring issues in a relationship. It means approaching them with kindness. Instead of saying, you never listen, try, I love when we really connect. Can we do that more? Instead of, you need to change, say, I love you as you are, and I know you're capable of even more. Men fall in love with women who make them feel accepted, not judged. Because when a man feels safe to be himself, he doesn't just love with his heart, he loves with his soul. 11. Thoughtful romance. Men also want to feel special. There is a common misconception that only women appreciate romance, that men don't care about thoughtful gestures or meaningful moments. But here's the truth. Men also want to feel special. They may not always say it, but deep down, they notice and remember when someone makes an effort for them. Let me tell you a story about Greg. Greg had been married to his wife Melissa for 30 years. Throughout their relationship, he was always the one who planned the dates, arranged the anniversary surprises, and made sure she felt loved. One evening, after a long work week, Greg came home to find something unexpected. Melissa had set up a small dinner on their back patio. Nothing extravagant, just his favorite meal, soft music playing in the background, and a handwritten note that said, For all the times you've made me feel loved, tonight is my turn. Greg sat down, speechless. For years, he had been the one making the effort. And now, for the first time in a long time, he felt that same energy reflected back to him. Because here's what most people don't realize. Men appreciate romance, not in the way movies portray it, but in the quiet, meaningful ways that show, I see you, I value you. A small, unexpected gesture can mean everything. A handwritten note, a simple text saying, I was thinking about you. A thoughtful gift that reflects something personal. It doesn't have to be extravagant. What matters is the intention behind it. Men are used to being the ones who give. But when a woman takes a moment to reverse that dynamic, even in a small way, it stays with him. Because love is not just about receiving. It's about making each other feel cherished. And when a man feels that, he doesn't just appreciate it. He remembers it forever. 12. Emotional stability, a safe haven in a chaotic world. Men live in a world full of expectations, pressure, and uncertainty. They face challenges at work, financial stress, and personal struggles they rarely talk about. But there's one thing that can melt a man's heart more than anything else: coming home to emotional stability. Let me tell you a story about Daniel. Daniel was a hardworking man, always juggling responsibilities. He loved his wife Claire, but some days he felt overwhelmed. One evening, after a particularly stressful day, he walked into the house expecting to be met with more problems, more demands. Instead, Claire simply smiled and said, "Rough day?" She didn't push for details. She didn't overwhelm him with complaints. She just gave him a moment to breathe. And that moment changed everything. Because here's the truth. A man's heart finds peace in a woman who is emotionally steady. This doesn't mean never having emotions. It means being mindful of when and how to express them. It's the difference between saying, "We need to talk" in a tense, overwhelming moment versus waiting for a calmer time to discuss concerns. It's the difference between constant criticism and choosing words that uplift instead of tear down. It's about being a source of peace, not additional chaos. Men don't always say it, but they crave a place where they don't have to be on guard, where they don't have to brace for another battle. Because in a world that constantly demands more from them, a woman who provides calm instead of conflict, reassurance instead of resistance, understanding instead of unnecessary arguments, she becomes irreplaceable. A man will always be drawn to the place where he feels most at ease. And when a woman provides that sense of emotional safety, he won't just love her. He will never want to let her go. Conclusion. What truly melts a man's heart? So what truly melts a man's heart? It's not about being perfect. It's not about grand gestures or constantly trying to impress him. It's about understanding the small, quiet things that make him feel seen, valued, and deeply connected. Let's go back over what we've learned. 1. Genuine appreciation. Recognizing his efforts, even the ones he never talks about. 2. Emotional intelligence. Truly listening, not to respond, but to understand. 3. Soft encouragement. Believing in him, even when he struggles to believe in himself. 4. Acts of kindness. Showing love in the little things, not just the big moments. 5. Respecting his space. Understanding that distance doesn't mean disconnection. 6. Shared laughter. Bringing lightness and joy into his life. 7. Supporting his growth. Encouraging him without making him feel like a project. 8. Consistency. Showing up every single day in small but meaningful ways. 9. Unconditional care. Loving him without keeping score. 10. Honesty with kindness. Allowing him to be himself without judgment. 11. Thoughtful romance. Making him feel valued and cherished. 12. Emotional stability. Being his safe haven in a chaotic world. Do you see the pattern? It's not about what you do. It's about how you make him feel. A man may not always have the words to express his emotions. He may not always tell you how much these things mean to him, but trust me, he notices. And when a man feels truly safe, supported, and deeply connected, he doesn't just love with his mind. He loves with his heart. He doesn't just stay because of convenience. He stays because he has found something rare, a connection that feels like home. If you found value in this, don't forget to like, share, and comment below. I'd love to hear your thoughts. Thank you for watching, and I'll see you in the next video.